What is up, YouTube fam? Robbie C here, and this week we are going to talk about one of the most dreaded places for so many people to play disc golf, and that is the woods. And it reminds me of the epic poem created by Nate Sexton, which is, "Why Are Trees?" I want to help you get over that fear of wooded courses. Some of the most beautiful courses in the world are wooded courses, and if we are afraid of playing a good wooded course, it's going to eliminate so many amazing memories for us out on the course. I believe there are a few simple tips you could apply to your game the next time you find yourself in a mossy wooded glen to help you not only crush that course but enjoy it while you're out there. But if you're not already, go ahead and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, because if we hit 5,000 subscribers here on the channel, then I'm going to go play one of the most epic wooded courses in the world, that is Idlewild. And I already know you guys are amazing, so if you're watching from
the future,
then I'll go ahead and link that video right here. When we tackle wooded courses, we have to understand what our best weapon of attack is. And unlike most of you might believe, it's not a chainsaw. Which brings us to a very important point before we go much further. If you are out on the course and you find limbs hanging left and right, it is not your duty to go out and remove those limbs. Or if a branch happens to be bothering you, you can't just chop it down or break it off the tree. We need to leave our courses intact the way they are. So to quote Big Yellow Taxi, you don't know what you got till it's gone, so let's not pave paradise to put up a parking lot. Sound good? The best tool you have in your arsenal to attack wooded courses is putters and mid-ranges. Putters and mid-ranges are essential for a variety of reasons. One of the biggest being the edge of the disc is pretty rounded. These rounded edges, when they come in contact with trees, because let's be honest, even the best players are still going to hit some trees in wooded courses. If you don't believe me, check out the footage from the 2021 Texas State Championships on YouTube. Using these rounded edges is going to make our tree hits less harsh when we happen to come in contact with them. Another beautiful part about putters and mid-ranges is that they have a lower speed. And I want to take a minute to talk about speed real fast. Speed does not necessarily mean how far the disc is going to go. The reason there is a higher speed is because more force and power is required to be put into the disc. What that means in the woods is that if we are using drivers while we are playing in the woods, we're going to have to put more effort and force into the disc in order to get it to fly how it's supposed to fly. Slowing down to putters and mid-ranges allows us to put more of our focus into hitting our line rather than putting strength into the disc. Which brings us to our second point. When you are playing in the woods, when you're picking your lines, I want you to focus on picking lines as low as possible. I'm not asking you to throw worm burners into the ground over and over and over again, but we need to understand some basic physics when it comes to flying objects. When you hit trees, the disc is being removed from its intended flight path, and that is where we get in trouble on wooded courses. The higher we hit the tree creates more time for the disc to go off of its original flight path. For example, if I hit a tree about 4 feet off of the ground, it's going to immediately shoot down to the ground and have very little time to get very far away from the fairway. If I hit a tree 10 to 20 feet in the air, it's going to do that magical thing where it works its way through the woods, hitting absolutely nothing, and then when you arrive at your line, you're going to realize, wait a minute, how did this disc get back here in the first place? Simply keeping our discs low and not trying to go sky high with them is going to create much better lies for us as we move through the woods, even if we happen to hit a tree or two and kick our way off of the fairway. Our last tip is something that I've shared before in other videos, but I believe it represents the critical problem that everyone faces in disc golf. The problem we all face in disc golf is this constant balance of accuracy versus distance. Which one is more important seems to vary as we go throughout our disc golf game. I believe though, as a beginner, we should always choose accuracy though over distance, and in the woods, this is especially critical if you want to score well. The best way you are going to score in the woods, and our third tip, is to look at the total distance required for each hole and divide it by the number of strokes available. So often when we approach holes, we want to bite off the entire hole hole in one throw. And in open park style courses, this is usually pretty simple as long as it's within our throwing distance. In the woods, however, trying to bite off the total distance of every hole with our drive could create some incredible problems that are going to massively hinder our scores while out on the course. Take a look at this hole, for example. The total distance is 255 feet. It's a winding fairway leading up to a pretty treacherous basket located on the top of a giant rock. Now, can I throw a disc dead straight down the line 255 feet? Yes. As you see here, the disc is absolutely laced down the line, and it is certainly possible. But if you want to score in the woods, we need to stop looking at what is possible and start looking at what is probable. If I try to throw these big flex backhands, I could hit trees on the left side of the fairway, massively inhibiting my ability to get down there and save par. So, what's my safe shot? I'm only going to try to move about 190 feet up the fairway. I'm going to pull out my pig and throw it on a forehand out to an open space so that I can have a clear, open look at the basket. Knowing your discs and knowing what lines you have available is going to create an incredible amount of comfort and precision while you find yourselves in the doubting woods. Opting into the forehand gives me a 60 to 70 foot approach up to the basket for a drop-in par on this hole. When I'm playing woods golf, there are very few holes that I start to look at and say, oh yeah, I need to birdie this entire course. If you are playing woods golf in the novice or recreation division, I can almost guarantee that shooting par will not only be competitive in your division, but allow you to win the tournament. Playing for par is going to be fantastic for our game. And when you play for par, you're going to naturally start finding some birdies. Which brings me to a bonus tip, and it's one of my favorite ways to break down a hole and get par almost every single time, and that is jump putts. If you haven't seen it, I put out a video about jump putting, and it's not something that I regularly use when I'm trying to approach the green or put the disc in the basket. Jump putting is something I love to use as an actual tee shot on shorter, more technical wooded holes. This hole, for example, is about 220 feet downhill. In my drive, I opted for a pig on a backhand hyzer that should feel like a pretty stock shot. But when I threw this, I get all the way down there and look at my lie, realizing I am way far past the basket, and it is incredibly difficult to try and control a full power shot all the way down, or even trying to give it a touch shot all the way down. What's my other option? A jump putt. Understanding that a jump putt is not some wild toss, but a guided extra power putt allows me to move my disc down the fairway exactly where I want it to be. Notice where this jump putt landed and how much cleaner the look is to the basket. In fact, by jump putting, I had a better opportunity to get a birdie than I did throwing a normal or standard drive. When you're approaching a hole, simply divide it into smaller numbers and realize that you probably only have to throw 100 to 120 feet on every shot just to get par, which is also pretty cool because then you'll start learning to jump putt efficiently, and then you'll be on a highlight reel which you'll send to me and I'll be able to feature it at the end of the video. So like, it's just a win for everyone. We need not be afraid of the woods. It's all about making the right decisions while you're out there on the course. One of my favorite ways to help people get through those decision-making processes is the Birdie Fam. The Birdie Fam is a collection of disc golfers who are totally focused on trying to improve one stroke at a time. If you want more information on the Birdie Fam or how to join, head down to the description below. I am beyond grateful for each of you for coming by and checking out the channel, and I hope the next time that you find yourself in the woods that you start absolutely lacing those lines with your putters and mid-ranges. But for now, I'm gonna leave you with the birdie.